We are the only species on Earth that builds golden cages and then wonders why we feel trapped. You've checked every box, followed every rule, and achieved the milestones society told you would bring peace. Yet there is a quiet, persistent ache in your chest, a whispering void that says something is still missing. You chase the next high, the next promotion, the next purchase, but the finish line keeps moving. You begin to wonder, is there something wrong with me? Is life just a cruel trick? The truth is much colder, yet strangely liberating. Your brain was never designed to be happy. Evolution didn't care about your fulfillment, it cared about your survival. To the primitive machinery between your ears, a satisfied human is a vulnerable human. If our ancestors had reached a state of permanent bliss, they would have stopped gathering, stopped hunting, and stopped looking over their shoulders. We are the descendants of the anxious, the restless, and the never satisfied. No one tells you that happiness isn't a destination. It's a biological bait-and switch. Have you had those mornings where you wake up and the world feels gray? There's no tragedy, no crisis, just a heavy, hollow indifference. You aren't broken in these moments. You are simply facing the reality that your brain's primary directive is adaptation, not celebration. We've been sold a lie that happiness is a mountain peak we can eventually summit and live upon. But the air is thin at the top, and the descent is inevitable. Dr. Emily Taylor, a leading psychologist, suggests that happiness is less like a solid ground and more like a wave. It washes over you and then retreats. If you try to build a house on a wave, you will drown in disappointment. When you hit a goal, your brain rewards you with a hit of dopamine. It feels incredible for an hour, a day, perhaps a week. But then the baseline returns. The hedonic treadmill kicks in, and suddenly that achievement feels like the bare minimum. You need a bigger hit, a faster car, a higher title. This cycle is a trap, a loop of not enough that keeps you running until your spirit breaks. Think of a man like Min. By every societal metric, he has won. A prestigious office, a beautiful family, financial security. But in the silence of his living room, he feels like a ghost in his own life. He followed the manual for success word for word, yet the result was an inexplicable emptiness. This is the friction between our ancient wiring and our modern expectations. Our brains are programmed for the hunt, but we live in a world of abundance that provides no release for that energy. So how do we stop the race? The answer isn't to give up, but to change the metric of the game. Look at Lan. She was drowning in the same corporate sea until she realized that her brain was addicted to a perfect future that didn't exist. She started finding it in the steam rising from a morning coffee, the burn in her muscles during a walk, the quiet 15 minutes of a book before the world wakes up. These aren't consolation prizes for a mediocre life. They are the only real anchors we have. We live in a culture that treats perfection as the entry fee for a good life. We scroll through curated feeds and see people who seem to have solved the puzzle of existence. But behind every filtered photo is a brain that is just as restless and survival-focused as yours. When you chase perfection, you are chasing a ghost. The most radical act of self-love you can perform is to accept your own messiness. Acceptance doesn't mean stagnation. It means ending the war with your own biology. Your brain will always look for the next problem to solve. Your job is to remind it that, for this moment, there are no lions to fight. If you feel mentally exhausted today, even though you haven't done much, recognize it for what it is: psychological friction. The constant background noise of "I should be more" and "I need to do more" is a battery drain. Your mind needs a recharge that doesn't involve a screen or a goal. It needs the luxury of being unimportant for a while. Try a simple experiment. For the next 15 minutes, do nothing. Don't plan, don't reflect, don't scroll, just breathe. You will feel the itch to be productive. That itch is the primitive brain trying to keep you alive. Acknowledge it and then ignore it. Happiness is not a trophy to be won. It is the texture of the journey. It is found in the 1% shifts, the tiny moments where you choose gratitude over comparison. Write down 3 things you are thankful for tonight. Not promotions or wealth, but small things. A warm meal, a laugh with a friend, the fact that your heart is beating without you having to ask it to. You don't need to be perfect to be whole. You don't need to be there to be here. The void you feel isn't a hole you need to fill. It's a space where you can finally stop running and start living. Your brain may not be wired for happiness, but you are wired for meaning. And meaning is found in the very steps you are taking right now. Every day is a 1% chance to be kinder to yourself. That is the only victory that truly lasts.